Hi, Truebies. This is Mel. Welcome to True-Blood.net's 10 Years of True Blood interview series. Today, we're catching up with Denis O'Hare in honor of the 10th anniversary of True Blood's premiere. Welcome, Denis.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited that we get to chat with you.
I know. The Vampire King of Mississippi.
There comes the accent. Nice.
Russell
was one of our all-time favorites.
Edgington.
Yes, Russell Edgington. One of our all-time favorite characters. You really made him something special.
I loved him. He was a great character. As written in the books, the books are so well done and so vibrant. But we all sort of took a jumping off point from the books and then reinvented things. And Russell in the books was interesting, but in my mind, and also Alan Ball's, a little too small and a little too sheepish.
Agreed.
And we were like, no, he's got to be a little crazier and a little bigger. And so we really did sort of riff and go away from what he was. We kept Talbot, obviously, the Talbot relationship, which was fantastic. But we definitely made him a really formidable, scary guy.
And it was when Talbot was killed that he really went bonkers.
Yeah, kind of lost his mind.
Yeah.
Yes, went on national TV, ripped out the spine of a newscaster, started talking to the urn.
I wanted to talk to you about that because I think that was the scene going on the national news and ripping out that anchor spine. And then you had that fantastic monologue you just delivered it. It was chilling. And then now for the weather, Tiffany.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep. No, I loved it. That was written by Alexander Wu, one of our great writers on True Blood. So got to give credit where credit is due. I remember getting that monologue and getting that episode and being so giddy, but also being like, this has got to be perfect. And I memorized that thing 3 weeks out, and I would run it every day. I didn't want to have to think about it. I wanted it to be second nature. I wanted it to be my blood, and have it be my thoughts rather than an acting thing. And I was so happy I did.
It was genius. I think that was Russell's breakout moment when everybody went, holy shit.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Do you remember when you felt like you first really clicked with Russell?
When the very first day of shooting, I was shooting a scene where he shows up on his horse, and Bill is there, and he's commanding the werewolves. And Alan Ball was on set that day, and I said, do you have any notes for me? He said, just have fun. And I was like, oh, right. And I just kind of relaxed and kind of knew what I was from the beginning. I really did. Obviously, with more information as it clicks in, you get more comfortable in latitude. But I definitely sort of knew who he was from the beginning and his power. Well, I guess what came along later was the playfulness and his sense of outrage and sort of his sense of, wanting to do anything. That came a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really had no boundaries.
He had no boundaries. No boundaries. I mean, but within that, I have my own sort of backstory and my notes and my own philosophy about him, and he had a very coherent philosophy. He was a child of the forest and a creature of nature, and so he worshipped nature. And if it was good for nature, he was fine. If it was bad for nature, he was a killing machine. And he considered human beings to be a scourge.
Wow, that puts a lot in perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He didn't really see the point of human beings. Didn't hate them, just thought they were irrelevant,
Yes, they really were just insects for him.
Yeah, or farm animals.
Oh, yeah, because, a food source.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a amoral character, I think is what we would call it. He wasn't immoral, he just didn't care.
Or he had his own morality.
Mm-hmm.
It was a morality that was from a different time and place, and so it was unrecognizable.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Russell, and the way that you played him, is a character that is going to end up in like some university class dissecting media representation,
Well, that speaking of that speech, that speech was, in my mind, a perfect metaphor for what it is to be gay. in many ways, and I really connected to that speech on the idea that I wouldn't put it this way if I don't believe it, but he had a line about we are not your equals, we are better than you, but that comes from the sense of having the larger culture feel like they're doing us a favor by tolerating us. Or the larger culture, the idea of tolerance is so repulsive to me as a gay person, because I don't need anybody's tolerance. I don't, I just need you to get out of my way. I have equal rights, and I have an equal access to the world. I don't need you to give me the right to be here. And that's sort of what he was saying in that speech, and I really connected to that as a gay man.
Yeah, and of course we know that the vampires were often used as metaphors for the gay community and their struggle, and so that makes sense to me. I wanted to ask what you're most proud of about the show, either your role, as something that you did as you were working on it, or just the show in general.
I think it was a great amalgam of entertainment and sort of cultural criticism. And it stayed mostly on the entertainment line of the fence, and I think that was great. People loved the show because it was fun. It was sexy, it was funny, it was outrageous, it was arresting, and there was a little bit in there of social commentary, but for the most part, it was just out to have fun. And I think that's something that's really something to be proud of. To entertain people well is a great achievement. I thought it was pretty high quality, and I loved Alan Ball and his contribution, and I loved all the writers we had in the room. And also, we made a really cool family, because to this day, the True Blood family is really close. And it's one of the few shows I've ever done where we had fun doing it, and we had fun afterward.
Yeah, that's a recurring theme as we've been chatting with other members of the cast and the creative team, is how many of you guys you're still connected, and either socially or working together. I think you are have already completed a film with Anna and Steven.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yes.
Yep. I did a film. I wrote it. It's called The Parting Glass. It's about my sister's suicide in 2010, and my family's journey for trying to grapple with her suicide. And Steven and I talked about wanting to work together, and I gave him my script, and I said, I'd love for you to direct it. He wanted to direct something, and Anna ends up being my little sister in it. Melissa Leo's in it, Cynthia Nixon, Ed Asner, Rhys Ivans, and I'm in it. But it was, it was kind of a family thing. Steven's a producer, Anna's a producer. They're great friends. Cerise is a producer, and Mark Larkin's a producer. And it really was sort of all in the family. And I recently did a movie for Joe Manganiello. He asked me to be in his movie Stano, and I said, absolutely yes. I was just doing Big Little Lies, and I missed running into Alex Skarsgård by a minute. And I heard from people the next day on set. He was like, oh my God, Alex was looking for you. He wanted to see you. I tweet and text with Carrie Preston and Kristen Bauer all the time. It really is. We love each other.
That's awesome. It's so nice as a fan to hear that you guys actually, what we saw on screen, obviously not the ripping each other's throats out and staking each other, but that kind, that bond, that connection that we see on screen, that continues in real life. That's really amazing.
Yeah. So totally real.
You came in during the third season, so
exactly.
True Blood was already a cultural phenomenon. That was really the height of its popularity, was seasons like 3, 4.
Yeah.
What did you think as you were coming in?
I was a fan of the show. A friend of mine gave me some bootleg copies. This was long enough ago. I think he gave it to me on a VHS, if that's possible. I'm pretty sure it was VHS.
Wow.
And he had ripped them off from somewhere, and I remember I was like, oh, what? I don't want to watch it. And I watched one, and I was like, I'm not sure this is great. And I watched the second one, and I was kind of hooked. And so we tore through the first 3 in the VHS, and then we had to get our hands on the rest of the season. I think it was during season 2 I was introduced to it, and then I caught up with it during season 2, and then it was it was appointment TV. I watched it live when it came on. I was so excited to be able to watch it I guess it was Sunday nights or Wednesday. I don't know when it was on.
Yeah, it was Sundays.
Sunday nights, and so excited to watch it. And I was a fan. And when I got the call, I remember I was doing a movie called The Eagle in Budapest, and I was shooting with Channing Tatum and Jamie Bell, and I get this phone call from my agent saying, Alan Ball just called up, and he was like, how would you like to be the vampire king of Mississippi on the hit show True Blood? And I was like, what? Okay. You know, I had no idea. I was like, really, me? And I felt a little funny coming into it, like I wouldn't be able to fit in the groove. I wouldn't match it. I wouldn't be welcome. I would break it. I would mess it up, you know, something like that. But I set apart for working on it, and so happy to be part of it.
I've wondered for a long time, was Russell supposed to be on for as long as he was? Or was that down to what you did with the character? I think, you know, when I met with Alan Ball, he told me, here's how he envisioned it. You're going to be the villain for this year, just like Marianne was the villain for last year, you know, and Renee was the villain for season 1. You're going to be the third-year villain. We're probably going to bury you in cement at the end of the season. Just a heads up.
But I'm not sure if you're going to be dead or not. So they were already hedging their bets a little bit about what they would do. And I think as the show progressed, they kind of went, yeah, this is a character we need to bring back. And so they already were thinking about it. And for season 5, they asked me if I would come back. And I said, of course I'd come back. I'd love it. And came back. And, you know, the issue with Russell is that he's a larger-than-life character, and he sort of dominates whatever he does. He's hard to sort of put in the background. And so I thought he dominated season 3 in a way, and he could threaten to dominate season 5, and it kind of wasn't his season. And so that was a real tension about where he fits in the season, how much he should be there. And then, of course, you kind of have to kill him off at the end of season 5, because if you put him into season 6 and don't give him enough to do, it's sort of disrespectful of that character. Mm-hmm. So I was glad that they killed him off in season 5.
And what a way to go.
Totally.
Eric finally gets his vengeance.
High on fairy blood. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I love that final moment where he thinks he's immortal. He thinks, you know, it's not going to happen, and then, oh, fuck.
Yep, exactly.
That's actually, we did a list of the 10 most memorable True Blood deaths, and Russell's on there.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
I was on the wall of death, you know, in the in the second floor of the hallway of the lot where we shot. There was a building, and that hallway is called the Wall of Death, and it had a photograph of all the characters who had died. It was a long hallway, and you walk by while you were still alive and go, oh God, look, there's Marianne, oh, there's Egg, and think, I don't want to be on that wall. But then, of course, you kind of do secretly want to be on the wall. Mm-hmm. Talbot got in the wall, I got in the wall, yeah.
Now, was it arranged like by what's the word I'm looking for? Not consecutively, but in order of death, or like did they put Russell and Talbot next to each other in the afterlife?
You know what? I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I think it was in sequence of when you died. Mm-hmm.
That would make the most sense, but it would be sweet. Yeah. It would be sweet if they put Talbot next to him.
Maybe. I think Russell and Talbot had an understanding. Mm-hmm. You know, they kind of went their separate ways sometimes. Yes, clearly.
Did you keep anything after your role on the series ended?
You know what? I kept my fangs. Although I had broken my last set of fangs during one of my last takes when I was dying. It was they're porcelain, and I gritted my teeth too hard, and one of the teeth snapped off. I lost that set of fangs. I didn't actually keep the other fangs. No, my husband has a set of fangs. And then I kept, what did I keep? I kept a little playing card, a German playing card that one of the props guys, Andrea, gave me. And I really loved it, and it felt like it was a totem for Russell. And I kept that in my bag for years. Huh. Yeah.
Was there anybody you wished you could have worked with on the show that you didn't get the chance to? Or maybe somebody that you wished you could have worked with more often?
It's funny, there's always those people you didn't get to work with. Like, I didn't really get to work with Sam Trammell. I only had one or two scenes with Ryan. We had the best time, Ryan Quanten. Mm-hmm. We had a great time. I loved working with him. He was so funny. Didn't get to really work with Rutina much. Didn't really get to work with Nelson, and that would have been nice. I would like to work with him. Yeah, you know, that was always a weird thing. Loved working with Alex. That was a lot of fun. Loved working with Mariana Clavino. Amazing. And obviously Stephen and Nana and Theo by Talbot. But yeah, the people you didn't get to work with. I loved working with James Frain, playing Frank
Oh
Lamont.
my gosh. That was another
great character.
Yes, that was another bonkers character.
Such a great character. Yeah, I loved him. But those are the little regrets you have. But I was happy to be on the show for 2 seasons, and I wouldn't have wanted it anymore. I don't think I would have fit in anywhere. I loved killing Chris Maloney. That was fun in season 5. I really loved dancing in the frat boys' blood while we were killing them all with McMillian.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
I loved giving him a puppy. I just thought that was amazing.
That was sweet.
Yeah, I love those things.
Yeah, that frat boy scene. I don't think I've ever watched it all the way through.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I also love killing the bride, the karaoke bride.
Oh yes.
One of my favorite lines of that season was she's screaming because her mother's being killed, and she screams, "Mom, Mom!" I said, "Oh, honey, you should be worried about you." And then I killed her.
And then I
just love that. Yep.
Russell's death count was pretty darn high.
Yeah. Yeah, it was up there. It was definitely up there. Yeah.
Well, tell us what you're working on now, what you have coming up that we can watch for you in.
I had kind of a crazy year. I did last year and this year, I worked on a movie by Chris Morris. He's a crazy, wonderful British director who directed a movie called The Four Lions, Riz Ahmed's kind of breakout movie years ago.
Yeah.
A dark comedy about Islamic terrorists. And we made a movie, Anna Kendrick, Danielle Brooks, me, Rupert Friend, Jim Gaffigan, Marshawn Davis, other people, James Adomian. We shot in the Dominican Republic this crazy comedy about the FBI trying to set up a black nationalist group for possession of weapons. And it's a spoof, I think, on entrapment and the FBI and the CIA. And we hope it's funny and disturbing. But it was awfully fun to do. And then I did a movie of The Goldfinch. John Crowley directed. Nicole Kidman, Jeffrey Wright, Ansel Elgort, Sarah Paulson, Luke Owen. Luke Wilson, sorry. Luke Owen, that's funny. Luke Owen Wilson. But that was a beautiful, beautiful movie to work on. And then I did a movie with Emma Thompson and Mindy Kaling called Late Night. I'm hoping that comes out soon. This great slut comedy movie with Reed, Scott from The Office, and Paul Hauser from I, Tonya, and Mindy Kaling, obviously, and Emma Thompson. Really, really, really funny, great movie. And I play an uptight producer of Emma's in that movie. And then I got to do a Lizzie Borden movie that came out. Actually, I did it last year, but that's coming out this year with Chloe Sevigny and Kristen Stewart. And then a great comedy called Private Life with Catherine Hahn and Paul Giamatti from Netflix that's coming out. And then I got to do 4 episodes of Big Little Lies with Meryl Streep.
Holy cow!
Yeah. A little bit of a crazy year.
Yeah. And wow, those are some really awesome projects. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, you definitely kept me busy. And now I am I've been living in France for a little bit and trying to find an apartment there and life there and trying to figure out what my next step is. I think I may be coming back to This Is Us. I'm waiting for them to call me. But they've been flirting around, trying to figure out when I can work. Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I love that show.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's really beautiful.
Obviously, you cry every week, but it's amazing.
Yeah. That's the setup.
Yes, and I loved seeing you pop up there too. It was a neat role. So I'm hopeful that if they come back, they're going to be expanding the role a little bit, the character.
Don't know. You never know what's in plan for them, and they've flashed back so much. It could be at any point during the character's life or existence. So who knows?
Yeah. Would you have liked to see more Russell flashbacks on True Blood? Because they did that a little bit.
I don't know. I'm pretty satisfied with what he got.
Yeah.
And I say leave it alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
He was one of those characters that I kind of wanted to see his backstory, but at the same time, the vampire he was in the moment, I think, was his real self.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could have been fun to do the backstory. That is true. I would have been interested in shooting those scenes, but some mystery.
Yeah. Well, you've answered all my questions for
Fantastic.
this time around. Yeah. We just are having fun, kind of taking a walk down memory lane with people and reminiscing about a show that was really important to all of us. So
I love it.
Thank you for being part of that.
My pleasure. It's always fun. I love the show, and I love that other people love it too.
Yeah. Have you? Do I see you that you're at various Comic-Cons and things and getting to interact with fans?
Yeah, I've done. I do about 3 or 4 cons a year. Mm-hmm. I just did Dragon Con in Atlanta. I'm doing a con in Germany, November 8th and 9th. What else did I do this year? I think I did a con in St. Joseph, Missouri, called what's it called? Crypticon. And then I think I did one I was in Wales this year. I can't remember. I honestly forget where I was. But I like to keep in touch with the fans, and it's interesting. I usually get a lot of fans who are American Horror Story and a few who are True Blood. But last week at Dragon Con, it was about half and half. I was pretty shocked.
Wow.
True Blood fans are resilient and not going anywhere.
No.
I love it.
I'm glad to hear that they're still pestering you about being a vampire.
Yep, totally.
All right. Well, I know you have a busy day and a busy weekend with family, so thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
All right. Thanks, Dennis.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.